So let's start from where we have left. He talks about evil doers or who don't understand what is a reality and do it. So before we proceed further, something to reflect upon, which I have been practicing, and seemingly it is better working than whatever used to work earlier as well. Meaning, how we can stay in the state of the sthita prajna. So the meaning of sthita prajna is being in the present moment, if we were to take that. So why do we do something knowing very well that it is not correct? Or why do we do something which makes us to continuously do the same thing? So yesterday I had discussion with my wife and my sister, my cousin sister. She had given a call, and she wanted to know how can women work on getting liberation with all the daily chores and other things. It is not possible. So only men have a better time, and women don't have, or they cannot find time with family and other things, career and food and all that. So many different problems apart from the physical problem, which surmounts the person. So now the way around is that, so I was telling her, one second. So I was telling her it is nothing to do with man or a woman. If we were to take the gender off the hook and then look at life in a perspective, then the major problem is the internal um, understanding that I am eternal. Meaning to say, what I could do today, I will do tomorrow. So there is a procrastination, call it as procrastination, or we can call it as challenges, or we can call it as obstacles or hindrances, or many different kinds of worries and family life and career, and so many things surmounting the person, whether male or female, doesn't really matter. What the person has a view is that he is or she is going to be alive next moment, and then I will be there for at least 80 years or 90 years or 70 years because I've taken care of my health. Three things are missed in this process. One, nobody knows why we are here, so there is ignorance, because when we entered into the womb, nobody told us that you will be alive in this place for 90 years. Number two, intellectually, we want to learn everything. So we learn this also, thinking that tomorrow it will be of some help to me. And third important thing, the mind knows it will not die. It knows that it has established an identity. If something cannot be fixed in this life, unfortunately, I will be able to do it in the next life. This is already embedded inside it. So basically, what the mind itself is trying to do is to let go of the other two things. Then comes the urgency. So, what I started doing for the last few days or weeks is to put myself 21,000 and odd breaths. That includes the sleeping, that includes the waking state, eating, doing these discourses, working for the organization, worrying about family, or doing something for the family, eating, and all of that taken together is 21,632 breaths on an average. So, this is what we are able to breathe in a day. Out of that, if I were to remove around 9,200 breaths, which will be for the night, so we come to less than 13,000 breaths. So that's all what we have. In that, what is the amount of breaths I have used for liberation creates even more urgency to do that. Then really what happens is that becomes a real prominent thing to do, because that gives a tight slap to the mind that you cannot think that you are eternal. So when that eternal view is gone, that I will do something, I can do something about it, then the person knows that he is helpless. Because if the breath were to stop, he is helpless. So I'm playing this game of 21,632 breaths, including sleeping. So my sleep has become even more profound now. Even in the sleep, I'm able to watch the breath, because not about the fear, it's about liberation. The fear here in a normal person is that the breath is going away and doesn't even know that the breath is going away. And every breath goes away, there is no new breath which is replaced. It's a new one which is coming in. And that is what is called as aging. If the same one were to come back, he would have stayed as it is, or he or she would have stayed as it is. And because that is new, it removes along with it part of the body. As I am speaking, whatever the breaths are coming are removing that much amount of the body, and new body is replaced, which is lesser than the previous one. If it was equal to the last one, then there is no aging. He or she looks same as they were 5 minutes ago, or 10 minutes ago, or 1 hour ago, or 2 hours ago. So it is history. So historically speaking, I have crossed 47 and now going to cross 48 in few months. But actually speaking, it's a number of breaths which are gone out, and it has replaced that many amount of body. So would I get back all of that? No. Would the emotions, the fun, the unhappiness and happiness, the sorrow, gladness, all of that which was experienced during that time, can that be brought back? No. That helps in creating a sthita prajna, and without which all of us will be doing some sin or the other, because there is always the next moment, and the next moment is the next life. not this life, even otherwise. The only difference what is making with us and death, with us right now we have the memories. So it helps in reconnecting to the past thought, saying that you still existed. Like in the morning, I can say I woke up, went up to the terrace, had a nice walk, then I came down, took a shower, had my breakfast, and now I'm sitting here. But if I really observe, all these are past. Can I do anything about it? Nothing can be done. Can I do anything about the future? Nothing that can be done either. So, what is in the present moment? Just the breath. And since we don't know this, every human being gets into the eternal view that I will exist, I have existed, and I will be existing in the future. So he creates in his mind something called as past, present, and future. In Brahman, there is no past, there is no present, there is no future. It is just like a river flowing. There is nothing called as past in the river, there is nothing called present in the river, there is nothing called future in the river. From whichever angle you see, it is flowing. Similarly, our breath is flowing. As I'm talking, that is also flowing. The time is also flowing. Every experience is also flowing. Nothing can be kept, held back, as though it is something that can be cherished. So, this is one great experience I am having right now, where I'm able to see or penetrate. Seeing is not the right word to use. So, penetrate into what is happening. So, I'm not seeing any past, and I'm not seeing any future, and I'm not worried about the present because it is just the present. There is no worry in the present moment. There exists only this bliss of existence. If I go to the past, it is stale. Like I started at 8:30 and we were discussing something, and that is stale. There is nothing that is really there except for the memory. What I'm speaking now is what exists. And what will I be speaking in the future never existed. When it exists, it becomes present. And when I keep on speaking, the time it takes for me to complete each sentence, each word, each alphabet, that becomes the past. So, what you are hearing is just the past through the present and anticipation into the future. If I could remove all the three of them right now, you get into a very deep, silent state of the mind where the mind does not move. It is frozen. The chittas are frozen. So now in this state, we are in the yogas chitta vritti nirodha. There is no movement of thoughts, movement of emotions, because the chitta is frozen. You can't go back to the past. You can't consider anything to be present. You can't consider anything going to happen in the future. There's nothing. No thing as a past, present, and future. And only when there is movement can then be a past. When there is no movement, there can't be a past. So this freezing is what Sthita Prajna is going to experience. Now in this Sthita Prajna, there is no errors and omissions. Only when there is a past and the future anticipation, there is errors and omissions. So there are 4 types of evil doers as per Krishna in the 15th one. So the evil doers, Mudaha, deluded mind, Prapadyante Nara Adhamaha. Adhama is the lowest. Mayaya Apahrita Jnanaha. Also those who by their own delusions are deprived of knowledge. Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. Their mind tunes itself to Asura. Su is good, Ra is Raga, Asura is one who can't even have a desire of goodness. So what's the difference between a Sthita Prajna, a Sura and a Asura? Sthita Prajna has no Raga, no desire, no longingness, no past, present and future. Because he is Sthita Prajna. Sura, whom we call as a good person, Su plus Ra, Su is good, Ra is Raga. A good Raga. What is this good Raga? Good Raga is about doing Punya Phala. Whereas a Sura, who works against that, his mind works against doing something good, because he doesn't have anything called as good. So that person is an Asura. So A plus Su plus Ra, there is no desire for doing good. So these 4 people, one Dushkritinaha. Do is bad, Kritya is to do, Kritinaha is one who meditates to do that. Mudaha, so out of the 5 states of the mind which we had covered earlier, this is the first state of the mind, Mudha, dull and dumb. We can observe a lot of these people within our own vicinity. What it means is that they are no individual. Their mind is dull. They don't get any reflection whatsoever because it is completely filled with tamasic. If you talk something to them, they will take their own sweet time to understand, or they might not even understand what is being said, because it's their ability to penetrate is not there. So there is no need to get upset. So if I find a mind which is mudha, I need to fill that person with loving and compassion, because it is mudha, it's tamasic. Nothing that can be done to change it from tamasic to sattvic. The rajas itself is not there. There is no movement. So when there is no movement, the person remains like that. And there is persons who are rajasic, and the problem with them is they are leaning towards the tamas, and there is a fear, and they would like to safeguard, and any kind of safeguarding is okay. So I might become selfish. The reason I am having that selfishness is because the mind is residing in tamas, filled with the raga of possessing through some means or the other. So dushkritya. Sukritya is doing good deeds to possess the same object. Dushkritya is to possess that same object through whatever means. But I need it. So there will be a lot of people of that kind. Nara Adamaha. So this is the third category of people. What are these kind of people? They have just got promoted from animal kingdom to human. Since their mind stayed in animal realm of existence for a long period of time, or even they might have got promoted from the hell realm of existence, because their completion of their karma, the mind got established as a human. But their nara is in adhama. So that mana urshata, that is one whose mind has got elevated, boosted, that is not there. It is compressed. The mind is completely compressed. So with lot of agitation, lot of evil tendencies, this person or this being has got a human birth. So it has to go through the same evolution process from an animal to a man. So first it will be animal, then becomes animal man, then turns into a human being. So it will take many, many, many births in the same existence, and then it sees what it was doing was wrong. So apahrita jnanaha. So these people are very funny people. They know what to be done, but they'll shut the doors out of ego, because they have the ability, but it sinks due to clouds. There is a huge cloud of ignorance. Now, what is this ignorance all about? The ignorance here is that he or she thinks all that what he or she has got is because of he or her own merits of possessing in this life. Let's say a family of four, let's say a family of six, or in the olden times, a family of 10. Out of many brothers, sisters, one of them had a very harsh upbringing, hard labor, hard life. And then this person used to study in the street lamp, and somehow was able to complete his 10th. Then he finished his 12th grade, and then did his university education by getting some charity and some funding by others. Then he got into another university, let's say abroad, and then he has done very well in that. Then he has landed up in a best job. What will be the state of this person? The state of that person would be that he has or she has done everything in this world which was wrong, yet made her to look right or him right. So now the person feels perfected enough to do it. So, if there is a failure, that person directly will then put the blame on someone because this person is perfect, because he or she has come from a very troubled upbringing, yet was able to take over all the challenges, and the more the challenges the better. So it has made the person stronger, and then has done every given stone which was laid on his or her feet, she has or he has removed it. So no stones have been turned or been made unturned. They have made sure that the obstacles are removed. So they shut in that life anything called as reality, because that person is used to winning things. And it is true also. There is nothing to say that what they are doing is wrong. It is true. That person has put in so much of labor, so much of hard effort, so much of challenges thrown at that person. And if it was anyone else, that person would have committed suicide, but he or she didn't do it, took it so earnestly, finished everything, and is successful or she's successful in the work, whatever they are doing. But when the nature changes, then they don't understand what is happening, because it is layered with ignorance. Now, this problem which happens is that they are left either choiceless or they become chanceless. What is this choiceless and chanceless? They don't have a choice, because basically what has happened is that they have earned success out of their hard earned effort. So they don't want to lose it. So they hold it closer to the heart. And that is nice to have as well. Out of 10 people, including the parents, let's say 8 children for that parent, and the sixth one or the fifth one or seventh one or whatever one was that, understood the problems what the brothers and sisters are facing. He didn't wanted to end up facing the same problem as the brothers and sisters, and he did something different. So he gets a different result, obviously. But this intellect plays a game. There are two kinds of intellectual thing. One is on the spiritual side of it, and one is a total materialistic side of equation with a religious tinge, meaning the person fears that as it happened to his brothers and sisters, it shouldn't happen. So he has a belief in God or himself or whatever it is. And then whenever the problem had surmounted, this person has gone to that God and prayed, and it has worked. So he keeps that in his purse or at his home, and all the things and all that he has done in life has basically worked out based upon that. Now, let's say till the time of his death, it remains the same. What is the state of that person? He feels that everything he has got, because nothing has failed. So he gets into asura. Deep inside, pride, greed, lust, anger would make their homes, because it has worked. So on the outside, he looks humble, but from inside, he is stone-hearted. So if the problem comes on the person, that person doesn't mind doing anything to that other person who did not meet his or her expectation. Let's say he's an employee, he's started a company and the employee is not working. He doesn't care because he has paid the money. That person has to work, he's not working. There goes the door. Because he has struggled his life and he has established. It has not come out free for him. He has struggled his life and he knows how much struggle he has made. So that person would be very shrewd, very direct, very outspoken, very chill hearted, and he doesn't want any opportunity to go off because he wants to win. Let's say if there is a tender, he would like that company to get it. If something is there, that has to come to him. So this is the madness at which this person would be running. So if somebody were to say, hey, slow down, he would say that, have you gone nuts? What is there to slow down? My objective is to set the company or myself as number one. So there is no way I'm going to stop to anything. So this demonic attitude will pull this person into an asura in the next birth, where all that person did wouldn't exist, because all that he had is only for this life. As soon as the body is cut off, that person's mind goes into delusion, because he has collected enough for a lifetime, not one, many lifetime to come. So when we start getting things, either difficulty or something very easy, it's better not to take it. That's the reason that Ishvara Pranidhana is there, or that Sri Krishna Arpanamastu is there, or whatever is there. The reason being, the moment we take it, we have to run with that life after life. Because I have not seen the comforts I am getting is due to the punya phala of the past. And the turbulence condition what I am facing is due to the papa of the past. Instead of taking it on myself and my intellect and my intelligence and my my effort and how I have performed and the amount of pain I've undergone, and that made me stand up on my own legs, and this is what I've done. That literally is true, but I don't realize that pain I've undergone is because I've done the same pain to somebody in some other life. I've just got what I did. Instead of reflecting that, I get into pride. And I would showcase that to 100 other people, saying that this is how you need to work. So there are I attend a lot of talk shows and give a talk how you can develop yourself and how you can stand, and a lot of motivation, a lot of claps happening, a lot of people subscribing. I can write many books on how one should take his or her life and other things, but all of that is a waste, because it's not what I did, it is what the karma did. There is no I in this doing. If I was really there, then why did it suffer? Why was it born in a family of 10? That means there is something to be given to all those other people. And good news is that since this being had done good karma of the past, it was not bound like the other beings which were struggling, like the brothers and sisters. So the moment I realize this, I become humble from the heart. Then I become a good person. Otherwise, I am here as a bad person. No matter I would have good knowledge of Bhagavad Gita or anything at all, or whatever it is intellectual capacity. I don't even know that what is the meaning of goodness. Because as per me, the goodness is what I can acquire. So here it is. I could read Bhagavad Gita and I can understand. Like some time ago, some years ago, basically, when I really reflect my own life and see, in 2006 or 5, I think so, I used to say 736 verse starting from Arjuna's from the Dhritarashtra talking to the end of the 18th chapter. I had memorized it so easily that I could recite all 736 verses, chapter by chapter. So somebody were to say the first chapter, and I would say all the shlokas of the first chapter. If somebody were to ask me the second chapter, then I used to recite all 76 verses of the second chapter without reading the book. So I used to pride. Then one day I felt, what is this madness I'm doing? That what is that I'm trying to achieve by doing this? It's not about whether I know 736 shlokas. It is what do I do with that shlokas is more important. So I dropped it. Same thing with other shlokas. And that pride automatically caught up. And that asura bhavana started. That means say that I had an asura quality some time ago. Now it is gone, but it was there. And if I were to reflect, I was not having any muda, but that means that the mind was not in muda. So the dushkritya was not that much, let's say, and a muda also was not there. And from the beginning of my birth till today, if I were to reflect back on each of the events, this mind was in not in the state of nara adamaha, that it has gone to a most lowest state of existence. But what all other things it had? It had envy, it had pride, okay, it had jealousy, it had deprivement, it had glory, and as growing very fast in the career. So that also was there. Even though I started 20 years ago or more than that, to get into this state has taken so long to really see what is karma. So if I really reflect back on this, especially these 15th verse and 16th verse, a beautiful verse, is to see from where to where have I come, and what a foolishness, what a madness, and what a insensibility I was having, thinking that I am eternal. Only now I know truly I am not eternal. That the only goodness in this whole of my career life and all that, I didn't have ego per se. So I used to adjust with whatever the job used to be and do the things, and somebody taking the uh, merit. I never used to get upset that much, even though I used to feel they are doing it in front of me, but I never used to take it. That was the only good thing I had, which had come again due to my past life. But other than that, the remaining small things were there. So this two verse of Krishna, 15th and 16th, will tell us where we are and what are we trying to do. To get out of it is that we need to become Astita Prajna, which was covered in the second chapter. So if we become that, then moksha is certain. Otherwise, we'll again forget, and we might come up with a mind which has again mudha, or it has asura quality, it has some quality, some good quality, some bad quality. All that is there. Some things work, something doesn't work, something work without any reason, and I feel that God is giving me such a nice thing, it is everything is working. And when it doesn't work, I don't know what to do. Then I blame the karma, saying that, oh, I don't know what kind of karma I had done in the past. It is not working. Now I want it to work, but it is not working. And to change the strategy, I don't know what strategy to change for it to work. So either I have to go back to the God to find out why things which are working is not working, or I have to do a different kind of karma, kamya karma, to make that thing which was not working to work. So sometimes we get into this delusion that things are working because he doesn't say I, because he feels that the God will not be happy because of the puja and other things I have done, and the homa and all that what I have done. I feel that it is not a good thing to accept that God is not helped me. So I will say, by God's grace, things are working. Now, have we heard any person to comment, by God's grace, things are not working? The same God is doing both, if we really see. Now we say, God, give me strength to take this nonsense thing which has happened. That is, the things are not working. I only request God to give me strength. So we don't hear anybody saying that, thank God you have made sure that it doesn't work at any point in time, unless the person is drunk. So now let's come to the 16th verse, 4 types of virtuous people. So he says, Chaturvida bhajante mam janaha sukritinah arjuna artah jignasuhu artharthi gnani cha bharatarshava. So, who are those people? Artah. Artah is a person who desires solace and relief because he is in pain. He feels that why this pain is appearing in me. So he wants to get rid of the pain. So then he comes into spirituality to see whether this pain can be removed. So first he starts with religiously following all the rituals, and then he finds that it is basically a process. I don't want a process, I want a solution. So religious is not going to give me that, except for the process. I need to adhere to something, and they say that you have not done it rightly, and that's the reason it is not working. So 100 different views and 100 different opinions, and that's not the place. to be. Artha. So his guna would like to go into sattva. But right now it is in a level where it is still not gone into it. So it is very causal, it to take shape. Jignasu. Jigna, Gnya is to know. Jig, Nyasu. Ji is to one who would love to work extensively. So Jignasu is a person who would love to work extensively towards knowing the truth. He is not satisfied with any explanation. He would like to try it out himself. So there is a rajasic tendency, but towards sattva, so the subtle level. Then the third type is artharthi. You will find 95 to 99% of the people in this category who desire all kind of wealth. Health is a wealth, so they desire. Then they desire for a good husband or a wife. All pujas and all the ceremonies, in irrespective of the religion, is for that. Then a good child birth in this world, so that the child becomes bigger than the father and mother, or equal, or whatever. Then a good place to stay, a reasonably, not reasonably, comfortable home and a comfortable vehicle, comfortable conditions, comfortable stay. Let's say difference between America and India. Let's say I'm staying in a very crowded locality in Bangalore. And it's too much of noise, too much of pollution, too much of things. And I get an opportunity to work in America in a very nice county where there is hardly any people, and I'm able to get a big home and a nice car. Let's say I've been driving Maruti 800 here, and I'm able to get a Mercedes Benz. What's the best option? Would I still continue to live in the Maruti 800 than that place which is so noisy? I would rather migrate to America. So now I go to America with my family, and then God's grace, I get the green card immediately after a few years, and then I apply for the passport change so that I can call myself an American citizen. So that also comes through. So, but it is good. So the God is helping. So artharthi. So maximum amount of people, population wise, if we take tamasic guna, and the level is gross. So this grossness makes them appear again and again and again and again, because their desires are never fulfilled. That is, my desire will not end up being in that small county. Then I find that if I am in New York or in Los Angeles or in San Jose or in some other, or I'm working for a small company there in the US, then I need a big company. I need a company where I can put it on my resume. It adds value to my resume. So I want to be working there. And sky is the limit now. But I need it. So, artharthi. Fourth one is a rarity, Jnani. This is impossible to find, and Krishna says you will never find one capable of. But there are, but you will not find. That is Jnani, the desireless sage, who can transcend the Triguna and get into a level of absolute. He is in the state of Turiya. So we keep on using this word called Turiya. What is Turiya? The state of fourth. So we have the Jagrata Avastha, that is the waking state, the Swapna Avastha, the dream state, Shushupta Avastha, that is the deep sleep state, which is tamasic basically, and an awakened state, which has transcended the gunas. That sage will be laughing at the world because the world no longer exists for this person. He has seen the Turiya. Now we can say Vaishvanara, Taijasa, Prajna if we go through Mandukya Upanishad, or if we go by the Taittiriya Upanishad of Panchakosha, or by whatever view we want to go through, it all brings to the same thing. Is that in a Jagrata Avastha, the same Jagrata can be in the fourth state, but this Jagrata is a deluded state of the mind. The Swapna Avastha is the movement, so it can be Rajasic, moving towards Swapna is the state of Tamas. Shushupti is a state where the person is completely slept in ignorance. Most of the people are ignorant. As an example, if I could give, it's a very hilarious example which I shared with the apartment people here. So, few days ago, my friend's wife, she had this asymptomatic COVID. So there were a lot of problems. Now 4 days back, 3 days back or something, the paper and the TV, I read it on the internet as well, is that the government has now relaxed the rules. Unlock 3.0. What it means for Karnataka is any person can enter Karnataka from any state without need of the quarantine. And the best part of that is if a person is an asymptomatic COVID person, then he can go to the job next day without need for any home quarantine or whatever it is. Because asymptomatic people are said to be non-carriers of COVID-19. So now you have to believe that and do your work. So they can come anywhere and they can go anywhere, so there is no problem. So one of my ex-colleague's son has got a job in Boston. Sorry, he's going for his MS in Boston. So he passed his IIT and he was having his classes online, and now he's got his visa to US. So I was asking him yesterday that, oh, has the airport got opened? He said, yes, it is open. And at Bangalore airport, there is no checking whether you are COVID positive or negative or whatever it is. And there is not even temperature check anymore. So he left to Delhi. And in Delhi airport also, there is no need for you to do quarantine and all that funny things. Nobody asks you. You can take your bag and leave, except that you wear mask, face mask. And then you go out of the airport. So he went into the embassy because Hyderabad is Andhra is having 14 days and Chennai is also having 14 days. He selected Delhi because Delhi doesn't have any quarantine. Okay, so now he got his visa, he came back, he's booked his flight to America. So now you see the tamasic reactions to all of this. The people say this is a disease which is dreaded, and everybody believes, yes, it is a dreaded disease. And the same people say it is not dreaded, it is nothing, and it is just a casual fever, and everybody believes it is a casual fever. So this is what the mind can do. Mind can relax the moment everybody relaxes. Mind can get into worked up condition when everybody gets into the worked up condition. Now this mind is tamasic. Whereas a jnani has transcended sattva, rajas, tamas. So now he's in the fourth. It's a laughing thing at how COVID-19 is sometime very dangerous, sometime not dangerous. Sometime can come through, and some people were saying that it is a very heavy virus, it falls down, it takes a lot of time and all that. Who studied it is very heavy, no one knows. Through what it comes, no one really knows. Through what it goes, no one really knows. But yet, we have so many stories going around that, and everything is believable story. So this is what a tamasic mind is all about. The sattvic mind is pure but gets entangled with the rajas. So it gets into this emotional surge to make things right. But that which is in Turiya would transcend all the three gunas, which is a rarity if it happens and whenever it happens. You will start laughing at the world because world is gone forever for who is in Turiya. Because now he is in Para Shakti from an Apara Shakti. What is a Para Shakti and what is an Apara Shakti? Apara Shakti is once in a while things work, or all the time it is working. The person thinks that it is because of him or whatever it is working, and he believes in some God and that God is working and everything is working. So it is not working. He cries and is working. He laughs and everything is interconnected, and all the funny things are happening. He loses his life, and then the photograph comes, and then his children do the same thing, and like that it will keep on happening, and it's a very fun oriented, world oriented life. Parashakti is a state when the person loses himself. There is no self any longer. So there's nothing called as a body. He knows the body is just 5 elements, nothing else. So he doesn't care because he doesn't exist. So now he has unconditional love for the God. Here in the Apara Shakti, there is a conditioned love for the God, just like we have conditioned love with our parents or with anything, with wife, can be with the child, can be with whomever we are staying with. We have conditions. If this condition matches, then I love you, otherwise not. So just like the parent would tell the child, look, if you don't pass the exam, consider that I'm not loving you any longer. So you please better do that. And then the parent will say that, and the child also believes that, and then the parent will say, I did that for your own good. Now, not realizing that this karma is what it is all about, whether he does well or she does well or she doesn't do well or whatever it is, this person has no role to play. But he takes on that person's role on himself or herself and keeps on running, and it's the nicest thing the world can do. But once he is filled with Parashakti, his bhakti becomes pure. And this jnana is filled with the highest love for God, which is the niskamya bhakti. So there is no kamya karma. So then the Krishna says in the 17th one that this Jnani is the most dearest to me. Tesham Jnani Nitya Yuktaha Eka Bhaktihi Vishishyate Priyaha Hi Jnaninaha Atyartham Aham Sahacha Mama Mama Priyaha. Nitya Yuktaha, one who is steadfast and firmly established. Eka Bhaktihi, single pointed devotion than anything else. To that deity he has in his mind. He doesn't have many gods. He has only one God. Love for that God alone than anything else. If I have Krishna, I have only that Krishna, nothing else. Every other God is a manifestation of Krishna. So if I have Rama, even Rama is a manifestation of the same Krishna. So there is nothing like I will keep Rama, then I will keep Krishna, or I will do like this. Sunday I will go to this temple, Monday I will go to that temple, Tuesday I will go to this temple, Wednesday I will go to that temple. This is a normal tamasic mind. And the God will not be happy with such a person because he is not a Jnani. Simple. So, four things should work. One, Nitya Yuktaha, Eka Bhaktihi, Ati Artham Priyaha. You give him anything, he presents that to that God. Even the pain is given to the God. In our case, it's not so. The pain is given to the karma. The good things happening is given to the God. Because I don't want to antagonize the God. Here, Jnani, pain and pleasure are the same coin, two faces. He is offering the coin to the God, which means the pain is also his, the pleasure is also his. So this person is the most profound person to be worshipped even by the gods. They will worship him. Reason being that he has established pure consciousness. And consciousness doesn't make distinction between is this good or is this bad. Only the mind makes this call of good and bad. It will also make a mind makes it like big and small, tall and short, dark and fair, fat and lean. All of these are conditions of the mind. So then there is perception, which would say if a person is not tall, then the person is not good. If the person is tall, then the person is good. Why? Because tall shows that he or she is better placed, or some stupid thing like that. Then you have pleasure and pain, happiness, unhappiness. All these are states of mind. In consciousness, there is no concept of any one of this at all. Consciousness doesn't say this is short and this is long. This is fat and this is lean. This is sorrow and this is not sorrow. And this is grief and there is no grief. Nothing like that. That Jnani certainly is the best as per Krishna. Also because he doesn't have viewpoints. Viewpoint can only come when one person chooses one and the other chooses the other. And now there is a debate between why he chose that one over the other. And then the 18th verse, he concludes what it is. He says, Udaraha sarva evete jnani tu atma eva me matam astitah saha hi yuktatma mam eva anuttaram gatim. Beautiful verse. Indeed are all of these very noble, but the wise I deem as my very self. I don't make a distinction between me and him, which is what Shankaracharya called as Aham Brahmasmi. There is no difference between me and him. The Atma and Paramatma are not two different things. They are one and the same. Astitaha saha hi yuktatma. For steadfast in the mind, he is established. Mam eva anuttaram gatim. In me alone as his supreme goal. That is, he has now got me. So that means there is no difference between me and him. So let's close here for today. Any questions?
So you mentioned initially you had Kantastha of all this Bhagavad Gita, 700 plus slokas. And then I think your comment was slightly negative. But my understanding is if you know by Shravana and then doing some Kantastha, that is very positive because that might have, that punyam might have taken you to the next level of what you are today. Is it not that we should be very thankful to that?
Yes, I need to be thankful, but deep inside there was pride. See, that automatically comes, but I was watchful. Not now, meaning when after I left the job, a lot of things started transformation for me, because then I found out all the mistakes I was doing in all of these, because there used to be a sense of pride, and pride will take the person to asura. So I used to have that in a very subtle way, not in a real greater thing. And the way I used to explain to people indicated that I have pride. Meaning, I used to project like that. Even when I had come to RBI layout, I had told that I was able to recite. But the way it can be told is in a very humble way, it can be told in a very pride way. I think even at that time, I had a very subtle amount of pride. Now I don't have.
Okay. But for starting for anybody from home, what parents can do is they can start giving some education to children based on what they know about this.
Correct.
It starts from, we call that a spirituality, but actually it starts from religion.
Correct, absolutely. So we start with religion, so you can't eliminate the religion and say that go directly into spirituality. That would be wrong. So you start with religion, set up that yama and niyama correctly, and then the person should establish in that yama and niyama and start investigating about himself or herself and drop out all the asura guna and the mudatva and all that which has been carried over from the past lives or in the current life also. Then he becomes the purest person. So Krishna is showing that both are part of his own manifestation. One is on the lower side of things and one is the higher side of things. The same consciousness actually is called as a pride person. A same consciousness is now called as a most humble person. But without consciousness, can there be a humble person or a pride person? So the mind is having a problem. So if I correct the mind, it should not have any problem. Consciousness never had any problem to be established in a most dumbest person or the most intelligent person or the most foolish person or whatever it is, or most intellectual person, it doesn't really make any distinction. The mind makes a distinction. So if we are able to let go of the distinction and take everything as normal, just like the consciousness, it is normal. It's not that it is an abnormal thing. Mind considers something as abnormal or supernormal or paranormal or this and that. Consciousness never make that kind of uh, distinction or division or departmentalization and all that. It's only in the mind.
I think fine. It was good session today.
Okay, Lata, any questions?
No, I was just trying to find out where our minds are.
Yeah.
But it is difficult, maybe somewhere in between.
Yeah. So what has really worked in me is the putting the number of breaths.
Yeah, that is also a good tip.
Yes.
So that is a good way of looking at how much of, sometime like I was asking you, should I take a pause and then start or something like that? And then I think this is a good kind of reflection, the amount of breaths.
Yes. So if we take the breaths and say that this many number of breaths we have, then that question that shall I postpone doesn't even arise.
Yeah. So I just asked and then I dropped it then and there only.
Yes. You had asked me that. Yes, I know.
Correct.
So this is what is really helping more than what I used to do earlier also. Meaning even the last year thing or this year thing, there is a total reformation day by day, which is good.
Yeah, correct. So the amount of time I am spending reading or then reflecting and all has got reduced because the work is there also more.
Correct.
And then there's some household things are also there, and so it is like hard pressed for time.
Correct.
So I'm just also thinking about your wife and your cousin sister asking.
Yes.
So many things females has to do. That many number of things the males don't have to do. So that's also true. Then I was also trying to see in whatever I am doing, how much I can bring this. Okay, but it's not that consistently I'm able to bring. Sometimes I forget, but sometimes I am able to. But let me try. So maybe this is one good opportunity to do that.
Okay, good. So yesterday, so it was 1 hour discussion, a very nice discussion. So I was telling them that make a time considering the breaths. Then you will come to know what to drop. If we have an eternal view that tomorrow is going to be there and I can do something tomorrow, it is not going to work out because we are going to come up with excuses. So I was telling.
For me, I don't have that kind of eternal view. I always feel I will run out of time.
No, that is correct. But then, even then, there will be subtle thing. Once you put that number, and in best thing, you know what, Lata, you have a counter, right? So we can put 21,632, and then keep on watching it. It just goes away. So what I did is on the internet, I just was reflecting upon how many breaths a person normally take in a day. So it showed 21,000 or what and odd. So I just put that in the mind. Okay, this many is what you can do in a life in today. So what is the most important thing for the mind? Now you see when the counter starts reducing, you will start losing the relationships also. Mind is very smart thing. It knows what to do. So once you put it under stress, it comes out of all obligations.
So is it true that when we are born, we are also being etched that you will have these many breaths, and then that many numbers done, then you are gone?
Yes, that is there.
Okay.
that is there. So how does that happen? It depends on the karma. So as soon as the karma ends of being in that body, automatically the consciousness moves out of that body. And the mind also moves along with the consciousness. So first thing that comes is the chitta, wherever it has left. And the chitta will pull the karma, the new karma, what it is supposed to do. And it will pull up the rutu from where this manifestation has to happen, the next manifestation. And then the ahara, the food. You will have both the mental food and the physical food. And the physical food is through smell, and the mental food is through what it wants to achieve in the next life. So that is the mental food. So what really happens is when we do the offering to our ancestors or parents and all that, it is called as apara karya because the thing is that it doesn't give good taste. It makes you feel sad and it makes you feel irritated actually. Whereas you give the same food to the devas, the food will become very good, pleasing, and the smell will be very nice. And when you taste the prasada, you will really enjoy the prasada. But if somebody were to give a rice bowl, sorry, not rice bowl, the rice cake of the ancestor, you can see in everybody's face they are not that happy to eat that. You can really see if whoever is doing this this paksha or pakshamasa is the one. So you do for the ancestors, and let us say you are doing the tarpana and all that. When let us say let us take an example. Let us say my father's to do, and then when I start giving that rice to the people who have sat there, and that prasada, what is coming in, you can see from their face they are not that much liking. Whereas if it is a prasada given to the god, meaning to say that they have kept it in the puja room, and then the puja has happened, and then they bring that thing and they distribute, people will be more than happy to eat that. So you can watch this difference. So the what is departed is the mind, and the mind has the ahara, and it is always not the good ahara. It has tinge of sensuality, it has envy, worry, discomfort, all of that has gone along with that person. So it will not be good. So that's the reason when we go to a person who, a family which has lost somebody, that place is filled with shoka. It will not be a happy filled room. It will be filled with shoka. And it makes tamas more predominant. So everybody will feel pain, they feel heavy. So when they go back home, there's some heaviness, there's some load they have taken. Now you go to the same thing to temple. There is also a vigraha or that image. It is also made out of 5 elements, just like this corpse. But there is a huge difference between the corpse and that deity sitting there. Even though that is in stone, which is having 5 elements, this is also made out of stone and other things as a corpse. There is lightness when you go to the temple, and there is heaviness when you go to a person who is departed. What if the that person who is dead is a saint? If you go to his home, you will be filled with happiness. That's the difference between a normal person and a godly person. That can be seen. So that law, that eternity and the karma and all that is part of, it is etched when the person has taken that conception. So that's the reason yesterday I told that there are 4 kinds of people. One who are in ignorance, they die in ignorance. One who is in ignorance, they die with light. One comes with light, goes into ignorance, and one comes with light and goes with light. This person who has come in ignorance and goes in light, if he dies or she dies, that home will be filled with calmness, will be filled with nobody crying, no heaviness. There's only a departure, there is only sadness to an extent that this person has gone, but nothing beyond that. Whereas if a normal person were to die, the ignorance is died in ignorance, and the people who come there, they would have their heaviness, as though somebody has put 100 kg on each one of them. And if a person who is in lightness goes in lightness like a real saint, that home is again, or that place is again filled with light. And the person who has come in light goes in ignorance, then again the same problem of ignorance, dying like coming and dying as ignorant. What happened? Everything made silent.
I am listening.
Okay. Fine then. We'll meet tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Bye.
Bye.